Yeah.
I can't think of anything better than that, like what to add to it. So we'll go with that.
Yep.
It's setting up. It's redirecting to YouTube here. All right, we're live. I'm gonna hit the record on my computer. All right, I'm gonna make my only phone, my other account, the host, so we don't lose anything. All right. All right, double check YouTube. I'm gonna add the link on Telegram group. Oh, I already put it in. Okay. All right. Can you hear me, Phoenix?
Yes, can you hear me?
All right. Yes. Welcome to Beyond Clarity with the very special guest, Phoenix Walker, one of the 4 Pillars of Power leaders. I first met. All right, I'm gonna focus on one thing at a time here. This dyslexia is kicking in, and it feels good to share it with someone who knows what I'm talking about, and putting myself out there, and like, there's there, the show must go. So I'm separate myself from the feeling, and I just had so much happen in the last couple hours, like right before I was going live, where Phoenix brought a very special guest on, Vinny Eastwood. Wow. That's all I can say. Catch the recent episode of 4 Pillars of Power, and you'll be able to follow his show there because his website is in the description there. That's all I can say. Wow. And catch the next 4 Pillars of Power, where Phoenix will be hosting, and Vinny is going to be a very special guest. So we'll see when that is. I know Kenny was going to host next week, but man, it just keeps getting better. That's all I can say. And since, well, it's been a couple of years, Phoenix, since we first met. I met him when a former IMC Nation member posted a video of Phoenix smoking weed in front of the police and them not doing anything about it. And I'm like, holy cow, who the heck is this guy, And then I believe he introduced us because Phoenix was creating a social media app because of everything that was happening. He got fed up with it and actually did something and was creating a social media app. And I was doing Kickstart Cash. Kickstart Cash is always going to be there, but I was really focused on it at the time. And we were offering a business line of credit for those who qualified. Now, we can only help those in the United States. However, if someone, let's say in New Zealand, has a connection that they trust in the United States, we can help and work with them. And after having a couple of conversations with Phoenix, where it would turn into like hours, and I'm like, I gotta get work done, but it's like, but I'm like, I'm feeling a certain way when I talk with Phoenix, and I'm like, well, this guy is like, everything that he's sharing is just like, it keeps getting better and better and more interesting. And I was like, there must be a reason why he's sharing this all with me. And I'm like, I want to have a productive conversation, And I was thinking about it. It's like, we're gonna have to film. We're gonna have to have a documentary based on this man's life. Like, there's gonna be a movie on Phoenix Walker, and it's been one hell of a ride ever since. I was gonna have AZD speak after my Beyond Clarity Zoom, but I didn't have enough attendance because it's $1,000 to have AZD speak for one of your classes. And if you think that's a lot, well, you need to QA yourself. That's all I have to say. Or be our guest for an open lecture on our Fridays, Phoenix's Saturdays. And where was I going with that? So AZD pointed out something that me and some of the other IMC Nation brothers had in common. Phoenix was one of them. So I reached out to them and we created a group and came up with 4 pillars of power. I believe that was Phoenix's idea, the 4 elements. And we each spoke for a half hour, got enough people interested to attend live. And then, of course, AZD spoke after us. And man, everything that we're going through, you know, we're learning how to transmute like the dark side, the negative energy into something positive. And knowing that you're in it, you're not in it alone, and being able to share yourself like fully and authentically and just have someone there to listen and also give you guidance and hold you accountable. It's like, okay, you know, what are we gonna do about this? It just feels so good. And Phoenix is one of them. So Phoenix, if you'd like to introduce yourself, this is our first live we're doing together on Beyond Clarity, where it's recorded on IMCtv. So little disclaimer, you know, whatever is said here stays here. Don't break the laws of the land you live in. This is for entertainment purposes only. Why do we say that? Because there's some Joe Schmo out there that is going to take what we say for granted, or they're just not happy with their current life situation. So they gotta exactly come up with something or take our words and put it against. So, oh, he said this and he meant this, and it's like, and you know what? If you want to believe that, more power to you. But we're just covering our backsides here. I'm gonna say S because if YouTube wants to censor it, whatever. What else? And there's gonna be personal stories on here. It's like if you share something without our consent, you will be fined $10,000. Why do we say that? Well, have you ever had like someone take your idea and like use it against you? There's that. And if you want to learn more, if you feel connected with us, you want a one-on-one phone call, reach out to us. Like we'll take our time and help you. And that's one reason why we're in the IMC Nation Brotherhood. Like we're under a contract where we trust each other. And man, so Phoenix.
Yep.
Thank
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Where do I start? Well, I'll give you a bit of my background, I guess, in terms of how I got involved with, I guess, activism. We were talking with Vinny earlier, and prior to my work with Vinny, I did a lot of traveling. I'm born in South Africa, and I left South Africa with the disillusionment of my country getting any better. And started chasing the almighty pound or dollar, you know, ching ching. On my journeys, traveling, I've kind of realized I was doing the same rat race that everyone else was doing and not fulfilling any satisfactory spiritual, social needs other than, you know, running that rat race. I couldn't explain it any better than a rat race. Eventually found myself leaving England and coming here to New Zealand because I felt New Zealand being a country that was predominantly farmland and predominantly bush, that this would be a good place to kind of get away from that rat race. But then I found myself in a country that was also fighting to keep its natural ethics, and later found myself working for an organization, which I won't mention on here, where we became extreme activists in some senses, hijacking ships for environmental reasons. Only later to find out that, you know, climate change, you know, with the science and all that, there's a big lie or agenda behind the lie. which led me to then go rogue. In going rogue, I started several other organizations up and predominantly went media. So we started a radio station up where I met Vinny, and things really grew huge from there. We got huge followings, and subsequently, like anyone who pushes against the system, we got punished. I got punished quite severely, and that led me to about 4 years of I guess solitary confinement and various other introspective tactics to help cope with what I was going through at that point. And then I found IMC Nation and the Brotherhood, and that's essentially where I ran into you. And I was part of another organization where we were creating, I wasn't on the technical side of things, more on the administration side, financial side of things, of a social media platform we were creating called Social 8 to help combat censorship and, you know, the allowing people to have the expression of freedom and such. And throughout all this process, I guess I was grieving. I suffered a lot of traumatic events, losses. Like when you push back against the system, it pushes too. So within IMC Nation, I found several different processes. One, Brotherhood and Power of the Pack, essentially, where you spoke about it earlier. Myself, Vinny, and various other of us have gone through a lot of pushback and trauma, and we found ourselves doing everything on an individual type basis. And even within organizations that we formed, we found that a lot of division was formed within our organizations because we didn't have a solid code of ethics. And within IMC Nation, that's something I found. We have a solid form of code of ethics that we can trust, and then also a support system that, you know, is all based on similar core values. So where am I going with this? What now is essentially the title of where we're going with this. We all watching the show right now know what the issues are at hand. So a question is, what do we do about the issues at hand? And we touched on it at the last show, was what can you do? And that's be a better man in your own existence and your own environment. And it's covered a bit in divine reflection, where we have to reflect the environment that we want to be in inwardly. So as within, as without. So coming through everything that I've gone through and looking at Vinny, everything he's gone through, and all of us, yourself, what we've gone through, going through our lockdowns for the past almost 3 years, and we've come out the other end of it. Sorry for ones that didn't fully come out, you know, we'll use these things for that word. But it has been a real test of how far you can go, and it's proof in pudding that you can go pretty far. And what now is to fine tune all the things that you've developed. And what I mean by that, we're putting a call out for people to actually start joining together and forming brotherhoods and sisterhoods if you wish to. But, you know, our main focus is being men, because we can only talk efficiently about what it's like being a man, because we're a man. And that's pretty much why I've stuck through with IMC Nation. And the knowledge, we have a pool of knowledge of individuals that have all gone through real amazing things in their lives and bring a lot of information to the table. And we have discussions that uplift each other. Yeah, do you have any questions? because I'm kind of rambling on at the moment.
Yeah, well, no,
But
not rambling. How did you get introduced to AZD and IMC Nation, and why did you join?
I saw posts on the internet, and the words that were spoken by AZD, I think it was the first YouTube video I did calling for the 300 men. And I think we should maybe repost that in the link so people can fully recognize what was said in that moment. But every word rang true to that we're sitting in a situation now that we have to accept our situation and do something about it. And the only thing that we can do about it, first of all, is within ourselves and then move forward. So I would refer back to that video of the call for 300 strong men. And that was the main reason why I decided to start looking at IMC. And then coming to class, listening to Arash talk, having discussions with Arash, it's real. There's nothing fake about it. It's actually authentic. If you wish to talk a certain way, you talk a certain way because you come from that background. And any other organizations I have looked at kind of have like a blanket PC. This is how we have to be with each other, which is quite generic, but we've actually formed something that's unique to ourselves. That's also unique to being men at the same time. And that was also something that really attracted me to it. And the teachings, the communication teachings I've learned, code of conduct teachings, the process of waking up early, being disciplined, being accountable for my actions, and having a authentic process where I can share my actions with someone without judgment, but they can still hold me accountable for my actions without that judgment factor. Yeah, there's amazing men's. Anyone watching this, I would really encourage looking at the other channels we have available, looking at those men, and then, you know, if you have access to talking to them, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same with me too. I've been in so many different types of groups and organizations, and what really got me is I was following AZD's Instagram. I was considered a freeloader at the time because he'd have a Sunday service, and sometimes he'd go live just randomly at night, and I look forward to that the most. And I've known him for like over 7 years off and on, but I just never could get, like, I was so, I guess, stuck and trapped in my way of thinking that I just it, I guess the whole self-sabotage and self-destructive mode, like when I get into something really good and I know it's good for me, I like push it away. And I reached a point in my life where enough was enough. And then this Yoga Plus Chris guy reached out to me because he saw me liking and commenting on AZD's post. And after AZD said a couple things like, you're spending your money on dumber stuff. And there was one woman that was like thanking him, like, oh, thank you so much for everything that you do and this and that. And he's like, don't thank me, pay me. And I took that as like, wow, okay. Because people, they're all gonna, I called it, I was pretty much watching for like entertainment purposes. And that's just like your disclaimer before, but it's like, okay, now are you gonna actually apply what you learn? And I'm in this group called Landmark, the Landmark Forum, personal professional development, opened me up to a whole new world, like helped me through my crossroads in life when I moved back up to Wisconsin from Florida. And that was a very humbling moment. And then like some things that AZD is sharing is really starting to stick with me and hit home. And I'm in this Landmark thing, and all these like really like successful coaches and like business owners and leaders are inspiring me. I don't really see them like some of them aren't happy and fulfilled. And I could tell like they're not really living the life that they want to live. And some of them are even telling others like below them how they should live their life. And I'm like thinking, like, who are you to judge? You know, sure, you're a good leader and you like have ranking here, but are you happy with your life? Like, are you happy with your relationship? And here I see a man that's living it, that's showing it, everything that he goes through, like screenshots of messages, whichever girlfriend that he posts himself with, you know, he doesn't have multiple girlfriends, he has multiple relationships. And it's just stuff that he's putting out there, like, is really sticking with me, like discipline and attitude. I'm like, I want to learn from this guy, you know? And I see other guys that are following him, and I'm kind of like seeing the stuff that they're posting. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. It's kind of like we have the same views and mindset. And with everything that's been going on the last few years, being in the right tribe is crucial. Like some of the stuff that I've been through, I don't know if you're on the advanced Beast Camp lecture today, Phoenix, but I shared something personal on there that I'm going through. And had I not be in IMC Nation, oh, I'd be handling it so much worse. And it's funny, when I went out to San Jose for the Divine Reflection Beast Camp, I actually manifested a new line of credit that I was able to invest in. I was talking with Powerhouse, one of Alex Cervantes, one of the Cervantes brothers, and it's like I haven't been out there in over a year, and I've been kind of slacking off. Like I've been making things happen in Wisconsin, but I just know like I need a little pick me up, so that's why I went out to San Jose to give my Nation brothers. And he's like, man, you're looking younger. I'm like, really? It's like, I don't feel younger. It's like, well, you're tapped into the IMC Nation consciousness or IMC Nation. I forgot it's like we're all tapped in together. And it's crazy because AZD described a situation pretty much like the same day and night that I went through myself. I'm like, oh my God, like, how could this be? It's crazy. And then me sharing what I shared today, although it was hard, it affected a lot of the brothers on there. And one of them actually reached out to me personally and said, hey, thank you. I've been through the same thing. And what you shared actually helped me because you don't know what someone's going through. And there's someone out there that needs to hear your story from you. So stop holding yourself back and keep showing up. So what now? Like what now, Phoenix? Like how has being in IMC Nation helped you? And where do you see yourself going with this?
Well, first of all, I had a voice at one point, and being a truther was the label or title or description they would have given us back in those days. And that was taken away from me. And that's one thing IMC's help me get back, essentially. For me, it's quite a struggle being on air, having my face on air, because I only did radio back in the day. And just to continue doing what I do, being who I am, sharing knowledge, like that description that Vinny gave of the initiate that had to swim a river with a net over the river. And, you know, if you didn't get to the other side, you'd obviously drown. And if you go over to the other side of the river, the master would ask you, do you want knowledge as much as you wanted the air while swimming, you know, across the river? And, you know, that's just another aha moment for me where my quest for knowledge, for expansion, for finding whatever I've so designed my life, living my life despite everything that's going around me, supposedly negative or positive, is my personal quest. And expanding IMC as much as I can, you know, getting as many people, you know, to share in this knowledge as they can and participate as much as they can and rank up, get more status, if you want to call it that, ascend more, just enjoy your life, be the best and fuck the rest. No fucks given. That's essentially it. You know, I'm happy being a father and a dad. I'm happy breathing air. I'm happy expressing myself. I'm happy having multiple relationships in multiple different ways, not just sexual as most people would think of a relationship to be. And I don't need government or mind control, as the term actually defines. I control my own mind, and the AZD process has definitely given me tools on how to control my own mind, and my own experience in whatever way I want or wish it to be, essentially. So, yeah, I hope that answers the question on that one so far.
Yeah, that actually brings me to another question. What are you a sovereign citizen, and what is that? Because I believe that's one reason why AZD. Well, for one, when I first got to know Phoenix, I he there was someone sending him a Zoom link. There was like a ghost or like an angel investor with Phoenix, and for some reason, like he was getting the Zoom link a day late because like it's tomorrow in New Zealand right now. Like it's today there, but if you're in America, it's tomorrow in New Zealand, if that makes sense. And I don't want to give out like the Zoom link. I'm like, okay, who is this guy? Can I trust him? And I'm like, all right, as long as you prove to me that there's you're getting the Zoom link, then we'll do this. So every morning, I email or I message Phoenix a Zoom link because there's someone out there who like believes in him or he brings so much value. And after AZD like pretty much offering him an acre of his land out in Utah to teach people how to like live independently and stand up for themselves, like how do you become a sovereign citizen? What is that, and how can someone learn more on that?
I'll first correct you on the term sovereign citizen. A citizen within itself is still in the system. So I'll just say use the term sovereign. So I have a Telegram group which is called Sovereign Outlaws, which we teach the complex lies are being told to us in terms of how we've been enslaved using word magic. And for myself, essentially, there's the technical side of things, there's the words, the contracts that get formed in your everyday interactions with police, courts, businesses, and that. But there's the spiritual side of it where I've personally found a freedom just within myself, knowing, how do I get it? You get to a point where you know all the knowledge, but you don't have to think about it. You just practice it. You just become it. So I'm kind of at that stage of my life. And this is something that I felt that IMC Nation could benefit from, and started teaching classes to people within IMC Nation. And there's certain individuals that have really taken it on board and started teaching sovereignty as a whole. And I think the unique click between AZD and myself is that he teaches language and the power of how language can control your mind and other people's minds and the environment around you. Whereas I came from this different yet same angle where it's how police and courts and the system controls you using this language system. Whereas AZD is talking the language of relationships and how they can bind you, and the words that you can use within the relationship to, create an environment that's healthy versus the toxic relationship that modern day society puts us in. Of, the bakers could only marry the bakers, the farmers could only marry the farmers, and the carpenters, or, and then they said, okay, no, it's fine. The carpenters can marry the bakers now. Bullshit. And so I came from that perspective, essentially, of how the system has created this language that's divided us just for a working process. And AZD's come with the solution, essentially, of how you can talk to a human being and use the language to heal or, fix a relationship, or not fix a relationship, create a connection or playfulness with someone that's not that serious. And yeah, it's personal, you know. Sometimes it shouldn't be described, I believe, what IMC is, because you actually have to experience it. It's like I can't wait to come face to face to a camp. It's the next level. So yeah, that's my typical mic drop for you.
So yeah, watching a live is like a 10. Being in a live stream is like 100. Being there in person is 1,000. I'm gonna reclaim myself host here so I don't lose this. Welcome, Ariane. All right. Still, I couldn't find the passcode, so I swapped over real quick for the security, and still learning, and the show must go on. Yeah. Well, Ariane, if you have anything you'd like to say, Phoenix is my special guest here, and we're just talking about like sovereignty. And if you have anything that you admire about Phoenix or anything you'd like to share with him.
Actually, before Arian gets on, I just have to be rude, as a Phoenix can be rude, and it's my prerogative to change my mind at any fucking point. But Arian, you gave me a song at one point, and I would call it a programming script, but a set of words that kicked off a really good emotion for me, and I'd like to thank you publicly for that. I think you know what I'm referring to.
I recall giving you something. Could you actually remind me what that was?
There was a song and a quote. I will have to find it in my Telegram messages, but we are thinking of the same moment at least. So just thank you for that, brother, before you start.
Anytime. I didn't really come to this meeting with anything to say, per se. I actually, class is going to start in another 40 minutes. And I had this crazy idea, and my head was like, you should, like, you really want a beer, huh? We should go get a beer. And I was like, I really don't want to go get a fucking beer. I'm kind of battling with my mind right now because I was working on some stuff, but like the addiction part. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go hop on fucking Tony's live and do that and, see what's going on instead of giving into what my fucking mind wants me to do, which I'm not going to do that because it can go fuck itself, quite frankly. Fuck you, stupid brain. So I'm here, and I telling it it's gonna get some water, and that's all it's gonna fucking get. So I'm here.
I'll not drink to that. Go ahead, Phoenix.
Same.
I'll not drink to that too. See, this is what I was kind of referring to earlier, Aaron, about IMC. We were trying to describe what IMC is kind of about, and you've just displayed it. Like, we're here for you at any point. And fuck, you're making the right decision. Yeah, fuck your mind. You don't need it. It needs you. You provide the sustenance and the choices. So, and yeah, well done, us, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's warm. I'm really fighting with it right now, actually. And I didn't think I would, but my brain's like, it's really warm. It's just coming up with any fucking excuse. And I'm like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Like, this is some bullshit. I mean, I have some weed. I could smoke that, but I'm really trying not to do anything. Especially because, like, I really picked up working out again, and fucking drinking is just going to make my workout shit. And I would rather, I actually should be cooking food. I'd rather have a good workout than fucking have my muscle be depleted with alcohol.
And perhaps after your workout, a nice cold shower too.
Always. Always.
Always.
I actually prefer having a cold shower before bed now because the cold shower lowers your body temperature and it gets you like right in the mood to go to bed. So it actually, I only learned that recently because normally I would do like a cold shower in the morning and then I would do like a warm shower at night because I was like, okay, I'll relax with a warm shower. And then I was looking up the benefits of cold exposure. And one of them, actually, a friend of mine brought up is that when you lower your body temperature at night, it actually makes it easier for you to go to bed because when you have a lower body temperature, your body just automatically wants to go to sleep. And I was like, huh, it's interesting. So I tried that and it works. So I do a cold shower in the morning and before bed, but normally in the morning, there's a little bit of a warm part of my shower so to get all the, the oils and shit off my body that I've kind of accumulated from the previous day. So normally I do warm to cold, and then before I go to bed, especially now that it's becoming summer over here in America, I do a cold shower before bed. Kind of helps me go to sleep a lot easier. That and meditation. Meditation relaxes me as well. So you do both of those, and there literally shouldn't be any reason why you should not be able to go to sleep, in my experience.
So for the sake of our audience, watching Arian right now, this is what it looks like to be a boss and take control of your situation. There's vulnerability here. The man's like live expressing his emotions, and there's honesty and authenticity, and this is what a real man looks like.
Thank you.
And thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. This is what helps everyone else out there too, because you should be able to be like this with someone. Be able to call someone up and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Or you should be able to even be like this with yourself in the mirror at some point. This is what mind control looks like.
Oh, trust me. I yell at myself in the mirror. I'm like, you don't need it. Like, don't be a fucking idiot right now. Like, I literally yell at myself, and like, I'll hear the idea, and then I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, and then sometimes I'll do a pattern interrupt, which is just like clap really loudly, and the noise will interrupt whatever you're doing. Especially like if I have any negative or extreme thoughts in my mind for whatever fucking reason. Sometimes they happen, and I just like pattern interrupt. And I'm like, okay, let's go do something else. Change the environment, go outside, take a walk, do something else to just get your mind out of it. So yeah, no, absolutely, you're right on point. And I just refuse to cave into my own desires. Discipline.
Purpose over pleasure.
Purpose over pleasure. Stoicism, discipline, purpose over pleasure, all of that. It's all true. And can't sit here, say I'm into self-development and then not develop myself.
Hey, I just realized you both are an IMC and RBMC, and everything that you guys mentioned, like now that I am so deep in IMC and RBMC, everything that I do to myself, it affects my tribe. So just like Ariane, I thought about having a drink too, and there's many times, especially my current situation, I would drink myself to a blackout, and it would just make things worse. And as you get older, the hangovers get worse. But now every like even a thought, I'm like, would I want Ariane or Phoenix to think this? Would I want Ariane or Phoenix to do this? And now that we're reaching new levels, like higher levels, and motivating, inspiring each other to do the same, it's like we can't be fucking around, drinking, doing stupid shit. Now, if you want to smoke, the moderation, or I even think psychedelics are okay to moderation with the right mindset and setting, but not that freaking poison. It takes away so much. And that's one reason why I love this platform, is because I know others are going through it, and I'm not like, oh, feel sorry for me. It's like, this is what I do. And just like AZD said, the Telegram group, it doesn't matter what time or day or where you're at. If you're going through something, message in there, hey, I need someone to talk to. And there's most likely going to be someone that's up, they'll talk with you. I had someone reach out to me after the advanced lecture today, and it felt so good. And feeling like freely, yeah, Ariane was there, like freely and authentically expressing myself and knowing that's like I'm getting the right help and accountability, and that there's someone out there at least that's gonna help. And sure enough, what do you know? He reaches out to me. Oh, it makes me want to give more, you know. Welcome to the 300. And just like Phoenix mentioned, the 300, when I went to my first beast camp in San Jose a couple Mays ago, I got so overwhelmed Saturday towards the end of the lecture where I had to leave the room. And of all the people to come in was AZD. And this is the PG-13 version. You want the R-rated version, you gotta join IMC Nation. So I'm there like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? And AZD looks at me concerned. He's like, is everything all right? And I was like, I didn't know what to say. So I'm like, dude, thank you for everything that you do. And he went, yep. And he left the room. And I took that as he doesn't want me to thank him. He wants me to do what he's doing. So why should I be holding myself back? Just like Captain Chris, you know, he drops in nuggets there that kind of like, hey, what are you going to start doing this? Because I'm always a behind the scenes guy. And eventually it's like, you got to put yourself out there. And like Ariane too, you've been sharing some personal stuff with me where it's like, I feel like I'm talking about myself. Like you're talking about me. I'm like, holy shit, me too, you know, let's freaking do this. Let's finally do that thing we've always wanted to do, because there's so many people out there. I see it up here. They got these like stress looks on their faces, or these hopeless looks on their faces, where they had like these hopes and dreams, and eventually a time in their life they just had to give up on it, and now they're looking back like, man, I wish I did that. Well, I feel like we're finally making it happen, and we're allowing the space for others to do it as well. Welcome to IMC and RBMC.
Absolutely.
So Phoenix.
Yes, I would say, hang on. My addiction would be probably my temper. And there's still a lot of past triggers that I'm dealing with myself that I find repeating their patterns. So just to talk about that, public apology to anyone that I've reacted to and not responded to. Please recognize that there's a reaction and not a response, but I too take complete responsibility of how I have acted. Both.
Same, if that goes with me for anything. Just putting it out there since you put it out there. So sometimes you remember things because other people remember shit. Not that I'm necessarily remembering anything, but just, you know, you brought it up, so just doing the same.
Thank you, brother. Tony, your show still.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Stealing your limelight sometimes. But
now that you brought up something, I hope we're talking about the same thing. You brought up something really valuable that I actually learned it in Landmark through one of the leaders, where he said he like called up every ex-girlfriend from his past and apologized. And I'm like, oh my God, wow. And I was able to do that with one that I met downtown Milwaukee just randomly, and it felt so good. Like manning up and apologizing to her, like telling her like, hey, nothing personal, but this is what I was going through at the time, and I just want to apologize for that. And we ended up having a good like conversation the next half hour. And now that I've been in IMC for the last few years, I just feel like I'm learning how to properly communicate. And one of my RBMC travel members who actually been teaching me some things, who's very open to IMC Nation. And it's good that two of the top members are open into what I do, because there's other members of different tribes there that are not. And instead of coming to me directly, they go behind my back and saying stuff. And it's like, you know what? you can think that, but at least I know the truth. And as long as my fellow tribal members whom I respect and I want to serve with believe the truth and come to me, if I come on a line or accountability, then I'm good. You can believe what you want to believe. And Ariane and Phoenix, I know you both went through that. Where was I going with that? Yeah. So what now? So you have a couple. There's actually a couple guys that joined our lecture last weekend from New Zealand, and there's someone out there who I forgot his name, but he seems really tapped in. Like, are you guys like gonna start creating a base out there, or if you're able to with your son, you gonna like come visit or move out here eventually, Phoenix?
The other IMC member is Jesse, and we have been planning to base up, but the logistics haven't quite panned out as of yet. And he's a father too, so there's that logistics we have to sort out too, because his child is down south, whereas I'm up north. So, but he has come to stay in Tauranga with me, and we have gone out and done some missions together. And yeah, there's a definite congruency, and we have definitely formed really tight bonds with each other. So in terms of coming to the States, I think it would be himself and myself at some point. But we first would have to set up a nice base here, I guess, something to come back to, because it is an expensive endeavor to come over to the States. And also there's that thing that we don't want to get, that we might have to get to come visit the States also. So there's always a logistic of that.
I don't know if you have to do it from your country. I don't believe our country requires any kind of vaccination anymore to come over here. I know that at one point. I'm sorry, say that one more time.
We're trying not to say that word.
Oh, okay. Is that the new bad word?
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's
definitely
easy to say.
Apparently on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Holy shit! I did not know. Oh, there you go. I'm talking all sorts of bad words. Wow, I did not know that. So if you say that word, we're gonna call it the V word. Do they?
The algorithm can take you off.
Oh shit! I didn't know that at all. Just for holy shit! Wow, that's fucking stupid. That is absolutely stupid.
But well, I'm not too sure. Okay, so I would look into that, but I just want, like, there's tap on words, call me a alarmist or whatever you want, but I'm kind of still also waiting for phase 2 of the pandemic, which has also been spoken about quite a bit, because I don't want to be stuck anywhere else, because I would like to come back to New Zealand. And there were quite a few New Zealanders during the lockdown that were stuck in other countries that weren't allowed to come back without any help or financial support too. So I'm not. There are definitely plans to come see you guys. Definitely plans to come see you guys. It's just logistics at the moment. But if I don't have to get that thing coming in or coming back, I'm quite happy on that side of things. Yeah. Grand Canyon's definitely on my list, my bucket list of places to go and see. So, any recommendations, Tony, apart from bases?
I say utilize that land that was ACD's land in Utah, and you seem like the perfect person to lead that or oversee it or have a significant presence there and teach pretty much everyone like we're gonna have a self-sustaining location, basically, like where IMC Nation is self-sustaining, because I've I've had some falling outs with former friends, former business partners, relatives, and I learned so much. And seeing what my fellow RBMC brothers went through, one reason why I brought us together, yeah, it's enough. And there was a time where I owned one of the IMC Nation members some money, and it took me like a year to fully pay him back. And I told him, like, I feel bad and everything, but he worked with me, and he's like, hey, as long as you're under the IMC Nation contract, you're good. So now that I'm doing business, it's like I pretty much only want to do it with members in IMC Nation. And that's why it's like, unless you're open to this, at least you're at least open to this, I really don't want to do business with you. And that's one reason why we're headed in a direction where Phoenix, Arian, and I are in with the entertainment industry. And Seth, if you have any questions, anything you'd like to share here, Phoenix is my special guest here on Beyond Clarity. I just got done talking about sovereignty, something I know Seth is familiar with, and perhaps he could even possibly help us in an area with that once we get our
yes,
self-sustaining
definitely.
base in Utah. Go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, how you guys doing? Yeah, I heard about, I think Phoenix ran about me, I think like a couple months ago about the Utah grounds. I was very interested in. Yeah, as far as sovereignty, man, like I've done countless hours of research and studying jurisdiction and maritime laws, and there are a lot of hidden doors that the public is not aware of when it comes to sovereignty. It feels like I'm fighting myself and for everybody else at the same time. So it's a pretty big deal to me. I take it very serious. So I definitely have a lot of resources in that area of sovereignty that can really help out people. Courtesy of Phoenix, I appreciate it for leading me down that path.
What's up, Seth? How are you?
I'm all right, man. How about yourself?
Awesome, brother. Good. Yeah. Essentially, we're getting to the point in our existence where being a man is not just about taking responsibility for your emotions and your the relationships around you, and that it's going to be either you fully succumb to a system where you give up all your rights, or you take your rights and exercise your rights. Essentially, that's the right to grow food, to have water, to have a family, to express your opinion and your freedom, to have the type of relationships that you want, and so on and so forth. And like the land in Utah, any other base needs to become, well, is pretty much self-sufficient as such. But in terms of land in Utah, I think we're going to set a whole new standard in terms of how a Stoic temple should be run. Seeing as we did start the first Stoic temple in the world, we should set the new standard for the next Stoic temple in the world. And I think that's where AZD is headed towards when it comes to the land in Utah. And that's kind of where you would fit in also, Seth. If I was not to be there in Utah, you still have the knowledge and the flame to carry forward. This
Thank
is
you.
one of the good things about being in a brotherhood. The show must go on no matter what. And there's always someone that's going to be willing to pick up that flame and carry on where another brother can't carry on. Like today, for example, Kenny couldn't do his show. The brother Tony's here to carry him. Not carry him, carry the responsibility. I correct my language there.
Carry the torch.
Carry the torch, the responsibility, yes. Which is another word that we have here in New Zealand. It's an indigenous word we discussed in class, one of the classes, which was ownership, the Western concept of ownership versus the indigenous concept of ownership, which doesn't exist. Here in New Zealand, we call it kaitiaki, which is you don't own the land, you just own the responsibility to the land. So that you're a caretaker of the land, and that's that. You can't sell something that you're a caretaker to, nor can you destroy something that you're a caretaker to. Whereas with ownership, you can sell, destroy, and stuff. So these are two different concepts, mental concepts. And I think, yeah, in Native American Indian culture, I don't know if it's with all the tribes. Seth, you probably want to research this. I think ownership was only within where your tent, the space of your tent, the circle of your tent is what you owned, essentially, and that was movable. So within Native American Indian culture, I don't think the concept of ownership existed too. This is going back to the Hopi tribe and the predictions that the Hopi tribe had made. So I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that.
Like yeah, like the court systems, like they changed a lot of language using legalese, which is like the hidden language in English and written English and spoken English too. It's it's um it's formerly Dog Latin. It used to be Dog Latin until it became more European and British and American English, so to speak. So, and the courts have been using it and taking advantage of it against people's um, knowledge, so to speak, because technically speaking, you have no rights if you don't invoke them to the courts. So, it's out of there's some ecclesiastical laws too applying with it, because the whole notion of sovereignty also comes from God, you know, because you have natural born rights given to you by God. So, and the definition of legal is the undoing of God's will. So you see how the ecclesiastical laws apply to it. Yeah, man, this is pretty sad, but it's definitely something that has to be addressed and taken care of.
I wouldn't say sad. Myself personally, I guess, can't really appreciate the light until you've gone into the darkness. And we're just going through a phase of darkness in our experience here as material beings, so we can once again appreciate the light, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it
Like-
makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if you've watched V for Vendetta, and where
Oh, I
V.
love that movie, man.
So it's like when V had to put her through a prison experience for that time period in order for her to actually realize what she was truly fighting for. Like we discussed the concept of freedom and getting our freedom back when we haven't even realized that what was actually taken in a sense, and all that it was never taken in the first place, that we just gave it up. You can't give freedom to someone unless
Yeah,
you own them in the first place, you know.
yeah.
And we're trying to fight for something that we've already got. It's a practice. It's as simple as that, really. And that's kind of like the point I got to. You know, you get confused fighting for something that you want when you've already got it. Like,
Yeah, it has the
like
notion, it has the same notion that's already applied, that if it so shall it be given, so shall it be taketh away.
Evite. Oh, what was it? What was the saying that I can't say it now? Evite Coupe.
Ad
Yep.
vitam ad corpum.
Yes. Can you describe that, Arian, please?
For life or until misbehavior. So basically, you have, it's, I believe ASD described it as, I don't remember which civilization basically had it, but I think I don't remember what it was, but it's basically, you were a sheriff until, you died or until you misbehaved. So you had the right of the law, whatever that is, under you. So if you wanted, you could like kill someone who basically insulted you or did wrong to you until you abuse that power. Like I said, I don't remember which civilization it was, but basically it was a very highly regarded principle, and it was given to like whoever the people who were basically like the police or something at that time. It was like the army or military or whatever it was, and basically they could do. I have to go back and look at the episode. I call them episodes, the the lecture. But basically they were able to do, whatever they had to in order to uphold the law and protect the law of the land. And then if they betrayed that and they went against the law, then that was misbehavior, and so then they would be killed or they would be put into jail for the rest of their life or whatever it is. So ad vitam ad corpus. So it's
Yep.
Yep.
So it's the same as you lose a right when you fail to exercise the rights, and we all kind of do that on the daily basis, just give our rights up for free and then feel that we should fight for them, where you just need to exercise it. It's like satori, instant ascension versus announcing your ascension to the rest of the world so your debt collectors can come collect.
Mhm.
So anything else, Tony? We're hitting our time limit here, I think. We could be here for days.
Yeah.
But
Well, we can. We're only supposed to go for like an hour, max. However, normally, I know Fridays when I'm supposed to have our show, there's no one after me. So I think with Ariane, we ended up going 2 hours. However, since there's an advanced beast camp that I believe all 4 of us are in, that starts in about 9 minutes, and definitely want to catch that. I ended up missing last night live, so I'm definitely going to catch tonight. And they are recorded, and Jagger would have AZD for opening it up to every IMC Nation member. And it's like those, and apparently we didn't get enough people to take advantage of this, where now like next month's going to be, he not only is he charging, but apparently it's more expensive. And there's been times that I've been through this where it's like there's times where I was able to afford it and other times I wasn't. And with everything that I've been going through, it's like I've attended so many advanced beast camps now, but it's like, okay, what am I going to do about it? It's like, what am I going to apply to my life where it's going to help me level up? Because holding myself back is holding the tribe back. And I can't be doing that anymore. I got to stop being selfish. So show up for yourself, show up for others, keep showing up. If anyone on here would like to give any last words, starting with you, Ariane, since your microphone's on. Seth, and then Phoenix, close it out.
I think you basically did it justice. Keep showing up.
Yeah, I like to say CV Pacem Parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war.
Rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. So peace and love to everyone. Plus.